Hello friends, welcome back to Hyper4Games. My name is Joseph and today on PlayStation News, additional details for the all-new PlayStation Plus, Microsoft turned down working with Marvel, more whispers on the returns of Infamous and Sly Cooper, Forspoken may see another delay and trade places with Final Fantasy XVI, and more. Let's get into them. We start with a lot of new details on the new PlayStation Plus with its launch for Asian countries being already on. In the visual department, PS1 games support different aspect ratios including native, 1:1, 4:3, 16:10, square pixels and wide zoom. They also have 3 filters: default, retro classic and modern. 4 features: you can create multiple saves and load at any point, and rewind in case something goes wrong. Trophies have been confirmed by Sony in a blog post and they are indeed optional to the developer, with Siphon Filter, Wild Arms and Hotshot Golf supporting them, but on the contrary, Old World doesn't have them. Classics have separate versions for PS4 and PS5, as well as separate trophy lists, so you can double dip in digital rewards. The bad news regarding PS1 Classics come with some games confirmed to be based on their inferior 50Hz PAL versions like Ape Escape, while others remain 60Hz. Sony also talked about the games catalog for Extra and Premium, indicating games here will be playable offline but require an online check every 7 days to validate your subscription, something that was already on for PlayStation Now but with a 14-day period. They didn't confirm the full list, but it's already out from the Asian PSN stores, and these are the catalog games not including PS3 streaming. The new service is already out in Asia, Japan will follow on June 2nd, the Americas on June 13, and Europe, Australia and New Zealand on June 23rd. A quick update that appeared online after I recorded most of this video: it seems users in Asian countries are angry about the upgrade options for the new PlayStation Plus. If you end up on Essential and want to upgrade to Extra or Deluxe since they don't have Premium, the service will allow you for a fee based on the time you have left. The problem comes with users that stack several years, with the service asking for a huge upfront payment to cover the same amount of time, and the system not recognizing any discounts you previously got, which means a full charge to upgrade. This was something Sony included in their FAQ and it sounded as bad as it turned out to be. It sucks how many things they got wrong with this change, the service is confusing enough, and now this adds up another layer to it. Hopefully they will find a better solution before the full launch rolls to all the PSN regions. Look out for a new video in the channel this week with everything you need to know before the new PlayStation Plus launches. The Uncharted movie has crossed over 400 million at the box office worldwide after being released last February. Forbes indicates this is the 4th most successful video game adaptation behind Rampage, Detective Pikachu and Warcraft. In the US, it's the 3rd highest game movie behind Sonic and Sonic 2. Sony hasn't greenlit a sequel to Uncharted, but an internal memo by Sony Pictures president Tom Rothman after a week of release already considered it a new hit movie franchise for the company. So a sequel is not a matter of if, but when will it happen. A new update for Gran Turismo 7 will hit PS4 and PS5 this week, as confirmed by series creator Kazunori Yamauchi. It includes 3 new cars like the Toyota GR10 previously announced for the GT Cup 2022. Besides that, you can expect your usual bug fixes, but who knows if there could be something else like a new track, for example. Spider-Man could have been an Xbox exclusive according to a chapter in the Ultimate History of Video Games Volume 2 book. In the book, Marvel Games president Jay Ong talks about one of his first challenges to discover why the success of the box office didn't translate to games. He outlined a plan that started with the early termination of the Spider-Man gaming license with Activision, with the idea of finding a better home for the franchise. Something that executives at Activision implied was impossible, saying, and I quote, "Good luck finding your unicorn." Ong proceeded to contact both Xbox and Sony as they aimed for a partner that didn't have the crappy licensed games mentality and had an eye for long-term investment. Microsoft turned down the offer as they wanted to focus on their own IP, while executives Alan Boyce and John Drake from PlayStation sat down to plan a Spider-Man game that could be as successful as Batman Arkham games. And the rest is history. Insomniac was the perfect candidate for the project due to their fast-paced action games, including the recent Sunset Overdrive at the time. They led the development of a game that ended up being very successful in terms of reception and sales, becoming the fastest selling superhero game in US history and reaching 20 million copies sold as of November 2020. A follow-up with Miles Morales was released with the PS5 launch, and a full sequel is in the works launching in 2023. Speaking of Insomniac, their upcoming multiplayer game may be a new IP as leaked by a new job posting on their site. They are looking for an art director who will be in charge of creating style guides for production in a multiplayer environment and who assists in pre-production planning and new IP development with creative directors. This one is likely to be another of the 10 online games that Sony plans to launch before 2026. What do you think they might be working on, or what would you like to see as a multiplayer game from Insomniac? Sound off in the comments below. Journalist Jeff Grubb keeps grinding the rumor mill of a PlayStation event in June, now saying that whispers of a PSVR 2 event have intensified as Sony plans to showcase the device in a substantial way. On his Grub Snacks podcast, he said that maybe this is the event Sony is planning for June, and there have been rumors of them doing a June showcase. And another rumor that has been going for a while is that of a Sly Cooper and Infamous returns. Nick Baker talked about it in the latest episode of the Xbox Era podcast, saying that the game may not be revealed in the rumored Sony event this June, but at a later date in 2022. This falls in line with another leaker who said the game wouldn't be revealed until the second half of the year. Account NGT also jumped to talk about the rumors on Twitter, saying that a reveal will likely happen in September, with a source saying no big showcase was planned until that month, and that the new Infamous game could also be revealed at this event. Xbox Era Podcast Rumor Mill section also included some news on Forspoken and Final Fantasy XVI. According to Nick Baker, there's a possibility that Square decides to delay Forspoken one more time, but on the condition of them being able of shipping Final Fantasy XVI this year. Producer Naoki Yoshida has previously said the game is near the end of development and has promised to share news and a trailer real soon. I think the launch may not be too far off, but 2022 is a bit of a stretch. I would say early 2023 for Final Fantasy XVI, and they keep Forspoken in October. Our final rumor of this section comes from Tom Henderson, who said his sources have indicated that Marvel's Midnight Sun is being revamped at Firaxis Games after the cold reception it had to its gameplay reveal in August last year. They had a March 2022 release date but decided to move it into the second half of 2022 as they needed more time to make the best game possible. The re-reveal will likely take place at the Summer Game Fest next month. Consolidation in the industry continues, with EA now reportedly looking for a merger. They seem to have approached Comcast to merge with NBC Universal, but the deal fell through due to disagreements over the price and new structure of the company, as they want Andrew Wilson to remain chief of the new company. Other potential buyers EA has been talking to include Disney, Amazon and Apple, and they didn't get too far with either of them. Could Sony go after them? I think it's not likely. While EA has some great IPs like Dead Space, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, The Sims, and Battlefield, even though the last one is not doing very good, again, despite those great IPs, a lot of their catalog is sports and racing games, which I don't think Sony would be too thrilled about. All their acquisitions have been studios they have worked with or are working very closely, like Housemarque and Bungie due to their plans on games as a service, or more recently Jade Raymond's Haven. They haven't gone after a publisher, and in case they do, I think they would look at home first, with publishers like Square or Capcom having a lineup that would be more interesting for them. So we'll see what happens with EA in the future. Lost Souls aside, the action RPG that looks a lot like a Final Fantasy game seems to be still in development. The official Twitter account for the game posted an interview with the creator where he confirmed so, and that they are aiming for a smooth experience as shown in the previous trailer. He said Sony's new console has become their old friend with daily development, which makes them feel they are moving forward with the project, as in understanding how the system works. The game is part of the China Hero project funded by Sony to support Chinese developers, and the last we saw of it was a 20-minute gameplay video in April last year. In the interview, Yang Bing also talks about his experience with PS5 games, his favorites, and what inspired him toward game design. It seems Resident Evil PS5 upgrades may be close to launching, as per a tweet from BSAA Europe. Inserting the Resident Evil 3 disc on a PS5 makes the console recognize there's an upgrade, but the download button is not working. It's the only Resident Evil game showing this, as there's nothing from Resident Evil 2 and 7 yet, but perhaps they're not really far off, and with a lot of game events next month, there's a chance we could get a release date soon. And those are all our stories for today on this episode of PlayStation News. Do you think we'll end up seeing Sly Cooper or Infamous this year? When do you think we'll have a Sony event? And do you believe Final Fantasy 16 comes out this year? Share your thoughts on any of these stories in the comments below, like or dislike to share your feedback, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, and consider subscribing for more PlayStation content. Thank you so much for watching, my name's Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!